The best friend was always around my husband, now I know why. I didn't understand the title until I lived it. Not fully. Not yet. That comes later. Right now, it's just me, restocking shelves in a bookstore that smells like dust and rain, half listening to the bell over the door. Elena comes in every Thursday. Same time, give or take. She says it's for the poetry section, but she never buys poetry. She buys mysteries she's already read, she told me once, for the smell of the pages, not the plot. I didn't ask what that meant. I liked that I didn't have to. Today she's soaked from the storm outside, hair stuck to her jaw, laughing at herself in a way that makes the whole store feel smaller. Don't, she says, before I've said anything. I know how I look. I hand her a towel from behind the counter, we keep one for the leaky pipe in back, and for a second, when she reaches for it, our hands are both holding the same corner of fabric. Neither of us pulls first. You always this prepared? She asks. Only for floods, I say, and she laughs again, but quieter this time, like she's deciding whether to mean it. She's married. I know that. Everyone in this town knows her husband, knows the two of them at the diner on Sundays, knows the whole shape of her life that doesn't include me. She hands the towel back before she leaves. Our fingers touch again, longer than they need to. See you Thursday, she says, like it's nothing. I stood there after the bell went quiet, still holding the damp towel, thinking about the exact second she hadn't pulled her hand away first. She asked me to help her carry boxes out to her car after clothes donations, she said, books she'd finally decided to let go of. I didn't ask why now, after years of buying them back into her own shelves at home, if the rumors around town were even half true. The parking lot light flickered. She stood under it, keys in hand, not moving toward the car. You okay? I asked, setting the last box down. Fine. Too fast. She caught it too, I saw her catch it, the way her jaw tightened like she was annoyed at her own voice for giving her away. I didn't push. I've learned that much about her, that pushing gets you the version of her that deflects, and waiting sometimes gets you something else. She sat down on the curb instead of getting in the car. Just sat, like her legs had made the decision without asking her. I sat too, a careful distance away, close enough that I could see her hands. She has a habit of pressing her thumbnail into the pad of her finger when she's somewhere else in her head. Do you ever feel like you built a life out of the wrong decisions? She said, not really a question, and it's too late to say so out loud? I didn't have an answer. I don't think she wanted one. Sorry, she said after a while. You're 20-something. You shouldn't have to listen to this. I don't mind. She looked at me, then really looked, the streetlight catching the tired lines by her eyes that she usually covers with a laugh, and for once she didn't look away first. That's the problem, she said quietly. I don't think you do. The storm that had soaked her hair the first Thursday came back for round two, worse this time, enough that the shop lost power for 20 minutes and she just stayed. Sat on the floor behind the register with me, 2 flashlights and a half-eaten bag of pretzels between us, like that was a normal thing to share. My husband hates storms, she said, apropos of nothing. Won't even stand near the window. I didn't know what to do with that sentence, so I didn't do anything with it. Just let it sit there in the dark with us. You don't talk about him much, I said, before I could decide if I should. No, she agreed. I don't. Her phone lit up on the floor between us, his name, a photo I didn't let myself look at too closely. She glanced at it. Didn't pick it up. Let it ring itself out, 4 times, into silence. You're not going to get that? He'll leave a voicemail. She said it like a fact of weather, not a choice. He always does. The rain kept going. At some point her shoulder had ended up an inch from mine. I don't know when, I wasn't tracking it, or I was tracking it too closely to notice the exact moment it happened. She smelled like rain and the inside of her car, cedar, and something warmer under that. Can I ask you something? I said, and you don't have to. Don't, she said, quiet, not unkind. Not tonight. Ask me some other night. I nodded like that made sense. Like there was going to be some other night, clearly delineated from this one, where the rules would be different. Her hand was flat on the floor between us. Mine was close enough that moving it an inch would have answered a question neither of us had asked yet. Neither of us moved. She didn't come in on Thursday. I told myself it was the storm, or a cold, or nothing. By Saturday I told myself so many versions of nothing that I finally called the shop's landline through my own cell, like an idiot, to see if she'd left a message. She hadn't. She showed up Sunday instead, off schedule, no husband diner excuse to explain it. Stood in the poetry aisle for a long time before she said anything. I've been avoiding you, she said. Not an apology. Just information. I noticed. I don't know what this is. She wasn't looking at me. She was looking at a shelf of books she'd read 100 times. I keep trying to name it something small. A friendship. A crush, even God, that word, at my age. But it doesn't sit right in any of those boxes. Does it have to sit in a box? Yes. Fast, certain, the first certain thing she'd said all week. Because if it doesn't, I have to actually think about what I'm doing sitting on the floor of a bookstore with a 26-year-old while my husband thinks I'm at book club. I didn't have a defense for that. There wasn't one to have. I'm not asking you for anything, I said. I know. She finally looked at me, and it wasn't soft this time, it was tired in a way that looked older than her. That's what makes it worse. If you asked, I could say no. I know how to say no to a question. She let that hang there, the shape of the thing neither of us was asking. What I don't know, she said, is how to say no to a silence. She came back the next Thursday like nothing had happened, which was its own kind of answer. We didn't talk about the poetry aisle. We shelved returns instead, careful and quiet, like the silence was something we'd both agreed to handle gently. Then she found the postcard. It fell out of a donated book, an old one, water-stained at the corner. She picked it up without meaning to read it, and then read it anyway, the way you can't not look at a scar someone's showing you. Oh, she said, and her voice did something I hadn't heard it do before. Smaller. You okay? She handed it to me. A man's handwriting, faded. Asterisk, come with me to Lisbon. I'll wait at the station until the last train. D asterisk. I was 23, she said. He asked me exactly like that. No plan, no money, just come with me. And I didn't. She turned the postcard over like there might be more on the back. There wasn't. I told myself it was the responsible thing. I had a job. A future I could see the shape of. What happened to him? I don't know. That's the part nobody tells you, that you don't get an ending. You just get a life that happened instead of the one you didn't choose. She looked at me then, and something in her face had come loose, unguarded in a way I hadn't earned but was getting anyway. You remind me of him. Not your face. The waiting. The way you don't ask twice. I didn't know what to do with being compared to a ghost. Is that a good thing? I asked. She didn't answer right away. She set the postcard down on the counter between us, like evidence, like a question she wasn't ready to close. I don't know yet, she said. Ask me when I do. She left her husband 3 weeks later. I want to be honest about that, because the story doesn't work if I pretend it was clean. It wasn't about me, not really, or not only. She said as much herself, sitting across from me at the diner on a Tuesday that used to be a Sunday she'd have spent with him. I didn't leave for you, she said. I need you to know that. I left because I found the postcard and realized I'd been choosing the safe train for 20 years. I know. But I'm here now. With you. And I don't know what to call that either. We didn't kiss that day. I want to be honest about that too. It wasn't the moment for it, and we both seemed to know it without saying so. What happened instead was smaller and somehow heavier. She reached across the table, and I let her take my hand, and neither of us did anything dramatic with it. We just let our hands sit there, laced together on the formica, while her coffee went cold and the diner noise went on around us like nothing seismic was happening 6 inches above the table. I'm not going to Lisbon with you, she said eventually, and I almost laughed at how she'd said it, half a joke wearing the coat of something true. I'm past running toward things blind. I'm not asking you to run. I know. Her thumb moved once, slow, across my knuckles. That's the only reason I'm still sitting here. We stayed like that until the coffee was fully cold and the waitress had stopped refilling it out of what looked like tact. Nobody asked us to leave. We just weren't in a hurry anymore. People ask me sometimes if I regretted waiting, watching, all those Thursdays where I said nothing and meant everything. I don't. I think there are 2 kinds of love. The kind that runs you toward a train station, and the kind that waits at a bookstore counter until someone's ready to stop leaving. I'm not sure one is braver than the other. I just know which one I turned out to be. Elena still buys mysteries she's already read. That hasn't changed. What's changed is small. She reads them out loud to me now, badly, doing voices for characters that don't need voices, and I let her, because I've learned that's what love actually looks like most days. Not the postcard. Not the last train. Just someone choosing to stay in the room with you on a Tuesday that doesn't ask anything of either of you. She talks about her ex-husband sometimes, not with anger, just the flat honesty of someone describing whether that's already past. And every so often she still says my name like she's testing whether it fits, the way she used to test the spines of books before she bought them. I think some part of her is still deciding. I've stopped needing her to finish deciding out loud. The bookstore closed the storm-damaged window last spring. Fixed now. Doesn't leak. Some nights I still think about the towel, and the half-second neither of us let go of it first, the whole story was already there, if either of us had been brave enough to read it. If this one made you feel something, tell me in the comments. Would you want more like it?